Hey, folks, welcome. You are listening to Real Laughs. My name is Mike Hurley. I'll be your host. I'm joined in studio, as always, with my good friend, Mr. James John. James, how you doing tonight?
Man, I can't complain at all. Feeling pretty damn good.
Nice, man. Nice. Good for you. And then we got Monsters Comedian of the Year for 2016, but he probably deserves 17, 18, 19, and 20 as well. Put your hands together for Mr. Miguel Colon is here via studio. Miguel, how you doing?
Good, Mike. Thank you so much. I was about to say thank you for having me on. Like that's how professional I feel Mike is. A lot of people I don't think get it, but to a lot of us comics, even people that Mike been for years, I think I look up to Mike as in charge of stuff all the time, and I'm like, I started the show 2 years ago with James, and Mike's like, welcome. I'm like, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, 2 years ago, you guys hit what? 4 or 5 years now?
4 years now.
4 years. Okay. And then I'm super psyched. We got a special guest, but no stranger to the show. We got Daytona's godfather of comedy himself, Mr. Zach Bennett, is on the show tonight. Zach, how you doing, man?
What's up, everybody? Good to see you, man. Good to see your faces.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. You know what's funny? I'd like to say you look different, but you were rocking the COVID beer long before COVID was even a thing. You already had it out there. Yeah.
I was in long anticipation of this. I've been waiting.
You know those doomsday preppers that were stocking up on water and beer? I just did it with facial hair. I did it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious that Daytona has been ready for COVID 10 years now.
Yeah. You know what? I've said it before. I'll say it again. A lot of people blame China, but if you don't think COVID didn't come from Daytona Beach, something's wrong with you.
If you didn't see the article, one of the first 3 articles, they were like, "Hey, you can catch it through airborne pathogens," and they were like, "Wash your hands," and they were like, "Cocaine kills it." So Daytona was just like, "Well, we're fine. We're fine. Everyone's fine here."
Cocaine, Daytona's second favorite drug. Yeah.
That's for the rich people.
Yeah, I guess it's kismet that we have you on tonight. Just happenstance, pure chance, because something happened to me about 20 minutes before we sat down to record that I thought would only happen in Daytona Beach, Florida. All right. I just put the kids to bed, tucked them in, and I live on a cul-de-sac in a nice little area. Okay. We're not Windermere, but we're not, Pine Hills either. All right. And I'm the only house on a cul-de-sac. So I get people who drive down this one-way road all the time, realize it's a dead end because they didn't read the last 3 signs, and turn around, go back the other way, See a lot of larger garbage trucks, delivery trucks coming down to make the turn. And I saw a car come down and it stopped rather than make the turn. And it stopped. So the butt of the car was, if I had backed my car out of my driveway, I would have clipped it. So I was a little curious. I see the door open and close real quick, but no one gets out. So I open the door and, you grab that thing that you always keep by your door for just such instances, and I go walking down. And I see the driver's seat recline backwards as I'm walking towards the car. So then I come up on the side, and sure enough, there's a dude, early 30s, just basically, what's the word for it?
Self-love.
Handling a situation. Thanks, Miguel.
Yeah.
Handling his own situation into a McDonald's cup. In his car in front of my house.
Burger King thing, but okay.
Right? That's definitely a Checkers Rallies moment.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So of course, I just take the smaller end of the bat and tap it on the window, and the guy jumps up and turns. And I think everybody has in their head, like, I've had 100 things I should have done in this moment, but I don't know why I went right into the get the F out of here. So I was like, get the F. And this is how you know he's guilty. Didn't roll down the window to be like, oh, I'm just looked at me and went and put the car in. And I
That's
had
the face he makes when he finishes.
I had the presence of mind. I pulled my phone out and got his license plate and everything. And he pulled away. And then once it hit me what had just happened, I'm like, F this. Got in my car, started moving around because there's only one way in or out of my neighborhood. Yeah. So I wanted to see if this was someone, you don't come back here, you know about this area to come back here. So I'm like, does he live around here? Something like that.
There's a forum.
Right? Well, I'll tell you what the forum says tonight. Crazy little Italian guy came out with a bat. Don't go there anymore.
You missed your opportunity to just smash a random person's window, and there'd be no repercussions.
Miguel, we're on the same page, but I wasn't going to stop at the window. I was thinking back. This would have been the time to just. But, dude, when does this become a thing? And it just got dark, like now. So this was.
I just thought about that.
So I'm driving around the whole time. I'm thinking, do I call the cops? Because what's going to happen? They're going to come out. Well, do you have video of that? Do you have proof? Or
you have video?
Yeah. Do you have a license plate number? So I call my buddy who works dispatch in a different county. I'm like, dude, here's the situation. I don't want it to escalate, but he's like, here's what probably happened, dude. He's like, this guy probably was at his girlfriend's house, left feeling unfulfilled, pulled down the road, or it's just a guy in the middle of the day looking for a quiet place. It has nothing to do with you or your house or your kids. It was just you were at a secluded area. He's like, I promise you, you're never going to see this guy in your neighborhood again. And I'm like, all right. He's like, because if you call the cops, what they'll do is if the guy has warrants, they might go to the house and say something, but it's going to be your word versus his. He says they get people all the time that pull up at kids' baseball games and they can't do anything because technically they're there filming the kids, but they're not doing anything. He's like, so dude, he's like, if you see the car again, he's like, break the guy's skull open. Other than that, don't worry about it.
Whoa, okay.
I had something. I was gonna say I had something even worse happen. On
you had
my
a guy
way,
come up to your car with a bat?
I know what it looked like, but it wasn't what it looked like.
I was just
all white guys with beards. White guys with beards look the same.
I will say this one. This time, I was happy because after all this happened, it wasn't one of my people. All right.
Oh, yeah. He was one of James's people. That he would have tapped the window too.
Whoa! He was Republican.
Miguel, you should probably look in a mirror on this one.
Then I'm gonna fill you in real quick, Zach. I don't mean to jump you. Let me explain what happened.
I saw both his balls, Ignore balls, and the other ones.
We are a spicy, loving people. Okay.
Even to ourselves.
With COVID, we can't hug and kiss and do our normal things. So he was just like, "Hey, this guy." First of all, it was how well kept your yard was that got him.
Thank you.
He was like, "This is doing it for me."
Yeah, Mike. Can I ask?
And you know what?
What gave it away that he was Latin? Was it the adobo? Like, what gave it away?
He had a little Puerto Rican flag CD hanging from his junk.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do a radio-friendly punchline for that.
Maybe if it was COVID. If it was COVID and he was wearing a mask, I might have forgiven him. But he wasn't wearing a mask either. And you know how I feel. You know how I feel about people not wearing masks in public. But Zach, you were saying you had an experience for us?
So I was on my way back to the house, and I was driving here, and a dude was driving like a maniac. He looked like he was drunk. I wasn't sure what it was. So he was driving the whole way, and I see him turning into my street. And at the end of my street, there's an Applebee's. Because why not?
Sexy.
And so I'm thinking this dude cannot be in a rush for that. He's got to, maybe he's just got to get home. He's got to poop. Who knows? So he's at the light and he's waiting for the light to turn. It's red. He's waiting for it to turn green. He's waiting. He's just like, I can see him. He's revving his engine. And then before the light turns, light's still red. The dude slams on the gas, pulls into traffic, and almost gets hit by oncoming traffic. So he runs the red light and then he turns into Applebee's. Really? That's worse than self-love in a cul-de-sac. You're willing to die over Applebee's?
You don't know.
You don't understand.
You don't know how strict they are about cutoff time for half-price appetizers at Applebee's. Have you had a wonton taco in your mouth?
It's 7:30 at night.
Maybe he was just firing one off, and then he was like, "I need a napkin." You know,
dude, I was just like, who's willing to die for Applebee's? Like, he drove into oncoming traffic so he could get half off, like, boneless barbecue wings that were frozen in a Cisco truck 20 minutes ago. Like, what are you doing?
Hey,
that's worse to me. I don't know.
Look, I'm not even going to judge this guy because I'm not going to be like the pot calling the kettle. I think everybody has taken care of business in a car by themselves from time to time. But be a gentleman. Save it for the turnpike on an 18-hour drive when you're just trying to. Yeah, no, James.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. No,
like you do with Michelle. And this is your limit?
Michelle. Like, I don't do it by myself.
I don't know if you've heard, James, but sex is so much better when a woman's not involved.
Yeah.
Is that what they told you in jail? Is it-
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I just know I've been disappointed in my own performance when it's just me there before, but I don't yell at myself. I go, "You'll get me next time."
Imagine this guy is just firing one off. He needs some quiet time, and you come out with the kids, and you're like walking to the car, and he's like fumbling with his keys, like, "Keep the boys away! Keep them away!"
You know what's funny? That's what my buddy, the dispatcher, told me. He's like, "Hey, man, if it might be different if the kids were there and saw it." I'm like, "But I saw it." He's like, "Yeah, but," I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. So you're telling me if I really want this guy to catch charges, I need to go get my boys? Like, guys, come here real quick."
Hey, Mike, if you really want him to catch cards, you got to make sure catch a charge. You get a little of that DNA evidence too. So you got to open the door and let him get it on the lawn. And then be like,
No,
"Got him.
don't help him.
Got him.
Yeah.
Got a lab work.
No.
Run it through the national
Like,
spank database."
I'll never forget this guy's face. But can
He
I
won't
just say,
forget yours either.
there's no other way to describe this guy as someone who looks like he would do exactly what I caught him doing. That's like the only way I could. If I went to a police sketch artist, they're like, "What do you look like?" I'm like, someone who would randomly pull up in a cul-de-sac in the middle of the day and just crank one out. I got you.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I feel like they got him in the wall like a tattoo shop. Did he look like a 7 or a 13?
You know what the saddest part is, Mike?
Yeah.
From now on, this guy can't finish without imagining your face.
So he's living my
like
life.
most people. Yeah. Like most
Yeah.
you know the worst part? After the adrenaline wears out and you're done thinking, "Man, I got to kill this guy," he was driving a newer Corolla and it had that cool digital display. And I've been looking for new cars. And if I thought, I would have been like, "Get the F out of here." But first, can I test drive that real quick?
No, wipe the seat off first.
No,
Yeah.
not that. The car.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me also, Mike. I lived on the end of a road. I used to have this cool little house back on the end of a road where you had to like do down this long driveway, and so people would go back there sometimes. Before I started renting it, it was empty for like 6 months. So people just like homeless people would just be like living in the driveway and stuff. I used to have to like chase them off because they just thought no one was back there. It's isolated. So one day I get home and there's a really nice car, like you were saying, like it was a dude in like a really nice car, and he was going to town on himself, and I come drive it up and I see him, and I'm like, and he sees me and he panics and he does like a donut in my driveway and then speeds away. And then, but as he's driving away, he's got all this "I'm a firefighter" stuff on his car, and like where he works. I'm like, dude, if I cared enough, I could like get you fired. Like you should like cover it up.
Zach, let me tell you this. He went to that neighborhood because he knows people who live there don't care enough. Okay, this was his first rodeo. Okay,
I did not know.
It amazes me whenever you see people on Facebook, some of the stuff, like we're in pretty tense times, both politically, racially, and it just still shocks me with all the cancel culture you've seen, the people that brazenly put forth the most racist thing you can think of, and then someone else in the next comic is just showing the picture they sent of the comment to the guy's boss, like, "Hey, A1 Pressure Cleaning, did you know your employee Bill thinks that all blacks, blah, 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 blah," and then the guy's like, "Yeah, you messed with my job." I'm like, why do you put that information out there? That's the great thing about being a comedian. You know, I can't wait till I say something that offends someone. They go to look at who my boss is and they got to write a message to me. I'll be like, I will handle that directly.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Real Laughs. Coming back up in the next segment, we're going to be talking about some of the crazy stuff that postal carriers are going through in Arizona right now. It's hot. You don't want to miss it right here on Real Laughs. Welcome back. You're still listening to Real Laughs. I'm still Mike Hurley, joined in studio by Miguel Colon Jr., James John, and all the way from Daytona Beach, isn't technology wonderful, Mr. Zach Bennett. Zach, what's it feel like to be back talking to people?
Oh man, it is just as awful as it was before. Really.
See that? Now, I reached out because, you know, Ken Miller couldn't be with us tonight, and I was excited to get you on the show because I've always loved when you've been on. I love hearing you talk. And one of the things I saw on your Facebook page was you had actually disappeared from social media for a while or something. Did you take a break from everything in the middle of taking a break from everything?
Yeah, this is not the time.
I even did it without announcing it, which everyone, you know.
Oh, dude,
you gotta
that's like the main reason people take a break, just so you know I won't be reachable on here with 0 likes.
Yeah.
So what is it, man? Just get too bogged down with everything, or what's going on?
you know, when everything first kind of went down, you know, I think I did the last Real Laughs episode in studio before we had to kind of stop going in and everything.
A little suspicious,
So
if you ask me.
who brought it?
A little suspicious.
But yeah, like I just I was still very motivated to still do something with that energy, you know, and trying to keep it going. We did I did some live streams where we did for about a month and a half where we did comics from all over the country coming on there and doing that, and I did the Nog 10-year anniversary show where we got like Eddie Pepitone and some more like famous comics to
Nice.
jump in and say like, you know, happy 10 years and stuff. So that was cool. But then after that, it was kind of like, I just kind of got to the point where I was like, I don't have a drive for this. So, and it once COVID hits and once the protests began, it was sort of like, I couldn't, there's nothing less important than comedy at that moment for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that comedy's not important, but in that moment, I was too enraged to be like, hey, like when they reopened bars and we did a couple of shows with the Nog, and the first thing I did was I got on stage and I said, look, I don't know why we're here. I don't know what kind of jokes you expect me to do right now. You want me to get up here and be like, hey, the world's on fire and they're shooting black people in the street and we're dying of a plague. But God, hey, it's so weird how men and women are different.
Hey, if this was a party in Tennessee, it would be lit. They would love it all that.
You just sounded like every 1770 stand-up comic. Like, hey, how about that bubonic plague? We still hate the Moors.
Alexander Hamilton.
No, I get it.
So
man.
how do you think black comics do it, Zach?
Man, it's got to be tough, like, dude. You know, to just look.
You hear they're shooting black people that started this month.
Well, that's the thing is that like people talk about it like a bunch of us weren't already talking about this stuff. Like most of you guys have seen my act. Like I talk about that stuff in my act, and so you know it's the kind of thing that you forget. You get too insulated sometimes with who's around you. You forget that like everybody isn't on that page until like it happens again. And then everybody acts like it just happened the first time. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, oh, for me, it was kind of getting frustrated with some of my right wing friends, and still, I mean, I still talk to them, but it got to the point where I was then messaging people more than actually interacting on the posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I basically, because I feel like if 90% of my Facebook is a bunch of my liberal friends that we agree on most stuff, then why am I making these posts every day? To keep the algorithm up. I don't care about that anymore.
Well, it's funny though, because I noticed when you did come back to social media, it was basically like you're always doing stuff like for donations, charity events, people in need. So I saw when you're big, like, hey guys, I'm coming back, but just for this fundraiser or just for this moment, which I thought was really cool because it's like, yeah, he knows when to use it and when not to use it. I got to learn how to do that, you know, use social media for the good it can provide rather than just the reinforcing the bitterness of every day. Yeah.
And you just did one for the Nog, right? Where you guys were taking sports memorabilia and stuff like that and auctioning it off.
Yeah, well, so I was doing as you know, the bars in the state aren't allowed to open if they don't serve food also. So it got to be problematic. The Nog has a package license and they serve food on specific nights, but now because of COVID, they're having to do it every night in order to be able to keep that licensing correct. So they're doing that. I know, Miguel. I see you winding up.
I'm just letting it. I'm like, I thought to myself, I said, he's a good man. He's a good man. Let him go. Let him go.
So the
That's
Nog,
what Mike should have said about the dude in the car.
Let him go,
Mike did let him go.
I didn't know him like Miguel knows Zach. If I walked out with Zach, I'd be like, just clean up when you're done, all right?
Yeah, I know Mike.
And I appreciate that.
Even if Mike would have smashed out his windows, that's a pass from Mike Hurley.
Yeah.
If I smashed the window and with Zach, I'd be like, I owe you a window, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Things happen. You had your thing out. I had my attitude. What's the window going to cost? Tell me. I'll send it.
So go ahead, Zach.
So the Nog obviously is, you know, it's our home base for comedy in Daytona, and it's sort of the meeting point for everybody. And a lot of people from, like, when we had the first show back, people came from all over the state just to do the mic, which is kind of cool, you know. We didn't take a fee from them for that, obviously. Like, I'm not going to take the show fee from the owner when I'm trying to raise money for him. So we didn't take show fee, and we did that.
You're like, keep the beer. I'll just have the Jameson tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to break you. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we
good,
did we raised money for a couple of local bars, the local theater, Cinematique,
Mhm.
Robbie O'Connell's bar, and also Derbyshire Place, which is a community outreach that
Nice.
works with the shelter I used to work at, and then also She's Covered, which is a great charity in Daytona that helps young women of color get new clothes and hygiene products and everything. So we were able to raise about $300 or $400 for each of them.
Nice.
And, yeah, man, it was great.
So
I thought She's Covered was one of the new strip clubs over there, but that's cool.
That's uncovered.
yeah.
Set
So-
it up for you, baby.
Do you guys currently, like, is the Nog doing any live shows right now, or are they shut down again for live performances?
I don't know what the legal answer is for this.
Okay. Okay.
They're allowed a minimum amount of people, and whatever that number is exactly what they are doing.
Okay.
He's
When
like,
they
the dog
do
is serving
shows.
food now.
Feel
Yesterday they brought a cake.
feel free to go grab a drink and some food at the Nog, and there may or may not be funny people, and you may or may not be told we have enough people in here right now. Is that about where we're at?
Okay.
That's about it. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I
S'mores
think we can
Pop Tarts
stand
are not food, Zach.
Well, yeah, I wanted to run this by you because I've worked probably, no joke, 40 jobs in my life. I've probably had 40 jobs. I'm one of those people that will leave a job even when things are going well just because I get bored easily, you know?
Mm.
So I look back and I've done everything from, I've done landscaping, I've done countertops, I've done lawn and garden sales, I've done, of course, bartending, waiting tables, stuff like that. I've cleaned floors at Kmart's, doing overnights and stuff like that. I've had a lot of jobs, and I have a lot of jobs I would never do again. So whenever I see a story about a job I definitely would not do, I feel totally related to it. This is going on in Arizona right now, and it has to do with the post office workers. Now, it's not the story that's going on right now where all of a sudden mailboxes are just missing from everywhere at the same time we're trying to mail in votes. This is actually the postal workers in Arizona trying to prove a point that the trucks are too damn hot. And this is what happened. One postal worker took it to this extreme. He took, and James, you are our culinary expert around here.
Yes, sir.
You let me know how this factors in. I've heard of cooking eggs on radiators and hoods. This guy took a full-on fillet, brought it in a Ziploc baggie in his truck, put it on a dashboard, and within 2 hours, that steak went from raw to a beautiful pinkish medium rare. Now, James, what kind of fire would it take usually to take a raw steak up to an internal temperature of 142 degrees?
Well, if you're going to do it over 2 hours, it's going to be very low heat. But if you're going to
Yeah.
cook it normally, you're talking about medium heat. You're talking about probably 250 degrees, 300. But that looks, actually, I'm not even being funny. That looks very well, like
That's closer to a
quality.
medium well.
That's quality
I'm going to
steak,
tell
man.
you where he messed up, though.
Yeah.
Here's where he dropped the ball. He was supposed to sear it on the hood. Right? Then put it in the bag with a little sprig of some sort of herb and butter. Hey, what is this, Postman's first day cooking on a car?
So
Let's see the
I
dessert.
don't get. I mean, their whole thing is neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night. But now they're starting to be like, well, it's a little too hot. We meant heat, like
Yeah.
like a
They need to
tepid
get more
97.
creative.
You know,
Because this
Zach,
is
I'm
this is
blame
what
your
the Nog did.
generation.
They brought food,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah,
brought
listen.
food to the Nog, so bring food to the post office and make extra money.
No, I'll
Yeah.
tell you this much. It's I'm gonna be the old guy. It's you millennial postmen. My postmen in the 90s, they'd shoot a building up if they had a problem, okay? But these millennial postmen are cooking steaks on Instagram, and my
Yeah.
guys, they were like, listen, I'm having a rough day, I'm gonna blast some people,
well,
and I'm gonna get back to work.
it's funny. The steak temperature of that steak, for those of you listening, you can check out our YouTube. We got a picture showing the steak over the course of 2 hours, changing temperature, basically. The internal temperature of the truck itself is normally 128 degrees on some of the days out there now.
Woo!
128
Oh.
degrees.
Yeah.
So this post went viral, and it finally got Arizona state representatives taking a look at maybe doing something like, oh, we'll give them a fan and one of those icy wrap around your neck things or something like
No,
that.
I'm gonna give them
But-
potatoes and a little truffle oil.
Yeah, you need some
Truffle butter.
asparagus.
There you
Yeah,
go.
round that out.
Mm.
So I just kind of wanted to ask you guys, like, I look at that and go, yeah, you know what? In my younger days, maybe I would have tried that job for a month or so. But yeah, nowadays there's no way I would set foot on that truck. So I kind of wanted to ask you, and I guess Miguel, I'll start with you. Did you ever have a job that you kind of felt your life or well-being was in jeopardy by simply showing up?
I had a job that I felt my mental well-being was going to be so bad that I wasn't going to be able to make it. I was driving a linen truck, and
my brother does that. Well, my brother got laid off, but he does.
Yeah, and similar to these guys, there's no AC in these linen trucks. And you're picking up all this restaurant linen. It smells like all this food. And sometimes they leave the linens outside and they get wet and they got maggots in them. And I would get there. I'd get to work, no lie, at 5:30 in the morning. And I was a jumper, so I didn't have my own route. So I wasn't like I was cruising one easy route all day long. I had to just get dispatches all day and cruise. So I get to work 5:30 in the morning, get off work 8 o'clock at night. And then I have spent the last hour cleaning maggots out of the back of this truck. And I would get the text because I was a jumper, and it was all about hours for the jumper. Some of these guys are like machines. They're like, I'll work every hour you got at me. And I'd sometimes get a text like, hey, Julio's not coming in tomorrow. I need you in at 3 a.m. And it'd be like 9:30 at night. I'd be sitting at the table watching TV. Like, and one day I did my last run. I was out at Restaurant Row in Sand Lake and getting yelled at by restaurant owners because they're like, hey, you're late. And I'm like, the guy didn't come, so I came. And I loaded the truck up with everything that they had, and this chef was just chewing me out. And I drove back to the linen place, cleaned out the truck, emptied it, came into work the next day at like 9 in the morning. They're like, hey, you're late. And I had written letters to each of the bosses about why this sucks and why I would never work for them again. And I took the day off and enjoyed myself, man.
There you go.
Sometimes you just got to walk away, man. You got to walk away. Zach, how about you, man? Any job that just really took a physical or mental or emotional toll on you?
Yeah, comedy. Pretty rough.
It gets better when you're funny.
That will do it. That will do it.
I knew I was lobbing up Miguel's softball, like the volleyball for that, get a little spike. But I had to say it because I felt like my punchline was worth his comeback.
There you go.
We got about a minute left. James, how about you, man? You've worked. Now, I will say this: you pick a job and you pretty much work your way to the top of it. But did you ever have a job early on that you were just like, I can't be here anymore?
Yeah. The same. I worked at a water park. I told you guys a while back on this show that I drove a golf cart into someone's picnic table and all their food fell. That same job, they didn't train us on anything. That's the problem. So that same job, they put me on the outside grill. They used to throw these big barbecues for people and their companies. No training on the grill. Almost burnt down the pavilion. My bad. My bad.
Was that the last day for you?
No, it wasn't.
They're like, James, we're gonna have to let you go. Is it because I'm black? Okay, fine, you're here.
The card again.
The card. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, guys, hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here with more real laughs and actually some strange stuff going on over in New Zealand. We'll talk all about it when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back. You're listening to Real Laughs. My name's Mike Hurley. I'm in virtual studio with Miguel Colon Jr., James John, and of course, all the way from Daytona Beach, Florida, the godfather of Daytona comedy, Mr. Zach Bennett. Now, guys, I'm constantly scouring the internet looking for news stories from around the world, and this one's actually comes from New Zealand, and it pertains to all of us. They have come up with a new machine that's designed to test men's testicles for irregularities and lumps, searching for, any type of cancer that you can catch early on. And I just wanted to show you how far New Zealand has come with this type of technology. So I'll just show you a picture of the device they've come up with right here. For those of you at home who can't see this picture, basically it's a booth with a curtain that wraps around it. And there's a hole where there's a hand with a rubber glove sticking out at about groin level. And guys, there's nothing more to it. On the other side of that is a urologist. And basically, it's just providing a little bit of privacy for men to go in. And I think they could really save money if they bring this to America, because we could put these in like the churches. We already got the booths, right? we already got the booths. We just need to add a little hole at the bottom and we're all good to go. 2 birds, 1 stone. I think
I'd walk into that thing and I'd be like, here's 50 to make sure I don't got cancer. and here's 100 to make sure I smile the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not to be too crass, but it's just a glory hole, right?
It's a
Basically,
medical
but
glory hole.
I would call it a reverse
medical
glory, a reverse glory hole. Because
Yeah,
in a
you're-
glory hole, you put things in, and this hole, things come out. So you know what? I should have. I really should have shown this article to the guy in the car in front of my house. Like, hey guys, this is so 1990s what you're doing right now. Go to New Zealand. They literally have booths for just this.
It's the world's most interactive ball warmer.
Yes.
No, I've had some pretty interactive ball warmers. I'm just saying.
So,
Some of them love it. They treat it like silly putty. Just stretch it out. Put it on the newspaper. Look what it does to the crossword puzzle.
so
Stretch it out. You can almost see through it.
I know.
I just miss
know
Casey so much there.
I know this looks like one of those jokes you would find or something like that, but this is actually Testicular Cancer New Zealand unveiled its distinctly low-tech machine. Yeah, it doesn't get much more low-tech than this. No batteries required. That tests men's testicles. It launched at the Big Boys Toys event in Auckland and involves a urologist or GP reaching through a small opening to check the occupant's testicles in the privacy of a small booth. On top of performing physical checks, the primary aim of the device is to educate men on the importance of self-checking every month. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that guy just was driving and felt like, gee, I think I feel something irregular. I need to check this out now.
What a hard day for him.
So you know what, Toyota Corolla guy, I apologize if that was a scenario, but I don't think you put the whole thing into a McDonald's large cup to check. That's not how it works.
You know what it looks like? It looks like when they have kids do science projects where they're like, hey, make, where they wanted to use their imagination, like make something that is like at home and it's your next big invention, and it's like a third grader and they go home and tape a bunch of cups to a chair and they're like, it's a lounge chair that you put in space. It's what it looks like. It looks like a
I feel like when you use this, it's got like that Looney Tunes. There's like a treadmill and a lobster falls off into a tank.
You know what I really like about this? If you want, you can see the picture. It's on our YouTube. But there's two handrails, so if you're standing, you can get a good grip.
Oh, I'm gonna beat that window up. You know?
Oh my god!
Something tells me it looks like a photo booth of the photos you don't want to have, but it's got that current that pulls around. Something tells me Miguel wouldn't even bother pulling that current around. He's like, y'all gonna learn something today.
I'm gonna stare at the people in line and flare my nostrils while I'm just and I'm just gonna with a cigarette dangling from my lip, just like roar machine.
The dude in Mike's driveway would have been all over that.
The worst part is, though, to operate that machine, you still have to have like a guy or girl who runs the queue, you know, who makes sure not. So like you stand there with a bat, like hurry up.
Well, you know what? They actually had a video of this in practice at one of the at the seminar they were at, and I think it ruins the whole anonymous portion when they show the guy come walking out from the back and he's peeling the glove off. So you just went into this booth, the hand came out, blah, blah, blah. And then you come around. And the thing was, they had 4 different people running the booth in this video. 3 were girls, 1 were guys. So you get what you get.
I'm going to go 4 times then. Get the whole thing.
And then you're going to find out it was the same guy. They do an hour session.
And I'm just going to be like, you, sir, you should do hand puppets.
You're something special.
Yep. Just
the Jim Henson of this thing.
In all seriousness, for those listening and the guy in my driveway, testicular cancer is the most common cancer affecting New Zealand men. So I don't know if this only pertains to New Zealand men. I gotta imagine it's worldwide. Between 15 and 39 is one of the most treatable cancers if detected early, with a survival rate of 95%.
If I had testicular cancer between the ages of 12 and 24, I would have spotted it. Like, I was doing system checks enough times then that I literally sometimes could be like, you boys feel a little warmer than usual. What's going on? You get airflow? You know?
Jesus.
Well, guys, we talk about, you know, I think all of us, Zach, you're a little bit younger, right? But you grew up in the age of Blockbuster, right?
I used to own a video store. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. No, I did.
Yeah.
You did? How did you compete with Blockbuster?
pretty well at the end, really, because they were going down in
'Cause
flames.
they
They
were-
were just giving it away.
You
Yeah.
were buying up their stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before on the show. The last Blockbuster in America is in Oregon. Well, they've taken a whole new level of what they're utilizing their facility for. This was a listing on Airbnb in Oregon. Hey, residents, dust off those membership cards for a sleepover inside the world's last Blockbuster. When you call dibs on this stay, you're booking a night back in the 90s. But this time, you won't have to beg your parents to rent the latest horror flick. We'll give you the keys to the entire store. And they're not joking around. The owners are trying to treat their locals who have supported them over the years to a night of, even during COVID, staying inside a Blockbuster. And what they did is they actually set up a little area. I'll put a picture up here for you guys. Doesn't that look nice?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
A sofa. It looks
All
like
they
an
needed-
inflatable mattress with like some back to the Saved by the Bell type 80s, 90s
All they
artwork.
needed in that back corner is one of those New Zealand ball testing machines, and this thing would be perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So
I would love that. I'm not even joking. I would, as a dude that watches too many movies, I would absolutely stay there.
Yeah. So I guess that was my question to you guys. First of all, would you be down crashing inside a Blockbuster overnight? And
Oh, yeah.
Novelty, yeah.
and if you people are going to be doing it inside that Blockbuster, right?
That's
You
my
know,
goal.
that's like
Just like we used to.
that's like hotel rules right there. Even
Yeah.
if you hate the girl you're with. If you're staying at a hotel, you're like, we're not wasting a hotel night.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know.
I already
So-
know what section I'm going to do it. Comedy.
so yeah, Zach, you gonna stay in an Airbnb Blockbuster for $4.99 for the night?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be such a cliche of our age group, but it really is like, I mean, it really is like this is a little more of like a thank you for the support over the years kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I mean, there really is a commodification of our like childhoods that we're all just like, take my money, whatever it is. Is it
And
Ninja
you-
Turtles?
you-
I'll buy it. Like that's
You know the best thing? They say you're more than welcome to anything in the store. So the Raisinets, the
Oh.
popcorn, the candy,
What?
anything you can grab is
That's
yours
beautiful.
for $4.99. So Zach, real quick, I want to get this
Yeah.
from all of you. What's your video playlist for the night, and what movie snack you grabbing?
Can I start by saying that it would be really fun to do this in the video store that I owned before I bought it, because I got it from my boss, who was a Vietnamese dude who would just yell at his daughter all the time while she sat in the corner. He would just like be helping out customers, and he'd be like, "Dang joy!" So I thought this would be really funny if that was the Airbnb, but he was still there, and like you had to come sleep in video time with a Vietnamese guy yelling at you. That being said, I would have Fight Club, American Beauty, and Watchmen, and I would eat snow caps and popcorn and hang out with my girlfriend. It'd be awesome.
I always forget about
Snow
snow
caps.
caps, man. But
Yeah.
when you see them,
Gotta
you're like,
put them with popcorn.
You know, snow caps are one of those things you definitely eat them more for the texture of it all than anything. You're like, I forget how awesome these feel on your tongue right before you crunch in. James, how about you? You got your VHS line up and your candy for the night?
I definitely would. I'm a guy that likes adventure, and this is a movie trilogy that I still love. They had a ride and an attraction about it at Universal. I used to ride it constantly. It would be Back to the Future all night, 1, 2, and 3, just to have a good time. A great series. It has a lot of comedy and action, and it all wraps up at the very end. And I would be eating popcorn, goobers, and bottled Coke.
Nice. And you know what's funny? I actually introduced during pandemic, I introduced my 10-year-old and my 6-year-old to Back to the Future, and you had to talk them into it to watch the first one, but then we watch all three back to back.
Oh
They
yeah,
love it.
absolutely.
They
I
love it.
remember when I got to share that with my kids, man. It's a great film.
Miguel, what about you, man? Going back in time, 90s, what are you setting up? What's your movie playlist for the night, and what are you snacking on?
I'm treating it like I'm in the 90s. I'm going to go Cuffs with Christian Slater,
Nice.
Monster Squad, and Flight of the
Monster.
Navigator.
Wolfman has no
Flight of the Navigator, yes! All those are great,
all
man.
Those were like
I'm sorry,
VHS
Monster
tapes.
Squad. What else did you say? I
Flight
got
of the
to-
Navigator.
Nice.
Yeah, those were like
Nice.
VHS tapes that I had taped that I would just be like wear them out watching because I was a kid then. And then I still think it's good. I like popcorn and some peanut M&Ms. Like a little bit of and you can't eat popcorn and not look like you haven't been starving. Like no one ever eats like you're like
Yeah,
Nice.
man. I think I've mentioned it before, but I think I'm going Tombstone from the minute I check in to the minute I check out. I'm gonna melt that tape, and part of that is because I actually paid a $78 late fee to Blockbuster on Tombstone at one point, so I feel like I still gotta get my money out of that. And then I'm going popcorn and Raisinets, and I don't mix the two because I love popcorn, I love Raisinets, but when I've tried putting Raisinets into the popcorn, for a split second, my head always goes to, how come this hamster turd is in my popcorn? Like it takes me right out of it for a minute. Well, guys, we got a couple minutes left here, but I definitely want to check. I know some of you guys, Zach's not. He's made that quite clear. Anyone got any shows going on this weekend?
I'll be at Margaritaville over in Kissimmee this week.
Nice.
Which
I
like the Margaritaville.
You know who you're there with? Who's opening for you?
Vinny Ward's my opener.
Oh, nice, man. I love Vinny.
Like a year, man. So this will be nice.
He has gotten, every time I've worked with him, he's gotten better and better. And he's one of those guys, the first time I met him, I'm like, I don't like this kid. But the second time I worked with him, I'm like, he's good. He's solid. He's reliable. He's fun.
The fact that he's good looking just pisses me off all the time.
He's like Pete Best in the Beatles. Like, you can play drums, but we're going to hire the guy with the big nose because we want to get some girls too. Yeah. What about you, James? You got anything going up?
I do. This Thursday, I'm going to be in Summerfield, which is right next to Ocala. Be working at Francisco's restaurant. Good friend of ours, Mike Palma.
Mike Palma. Yeah, man. He puts on a good show, and Francisco's is a great little. That's where you perform on the mantle, not the mantle, but right in front of the fireplace, the hearth.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, man.
Nice. Yeah. Always a good little crowd. I'm actually at the end of the month, the 28th. I'm going to be in New Smyrna Beach. I'm working with Adam Lowry out there. I think it's a Marriott hotel out there. So, Zach, if you're feeling up for it, man, and you want to swing by for a guest spot, I don't know if something crazy happens. Feel free. You know you're always welcome on my shows, man.
I mean, Zach, some of us, are about this game, and some of us are just playing games. So you tell me who you are,
Yeah. Well,
let me plug real quick. I'll show you. So these are all posters that we're working on getting prepped for the next charity auction when they drop that next stimulus. So that's what I'm doing. I don't have time to put on mask and perform for 14 people coughing in my mouth. Okay.
You know what? I can't even hate Zach because we've been in this game long enough that you find the comedians who just keep doing it, and then you find the comedians that were smart enough to get out when they were young enough to make another career for themselves. And I gotta tell you, I envy you, man, because I feel like a sex gig worker on OBT. Like if the guy pays me for my time, we take care of the deed, and really wants to hear, I'd let him know if I had anything else I could do, I'd be doing it. That's it. Well, guys, that's it for tonight's Real Laughs. Thanks for listening. Be sure you listen to all our sister shows. We got the Monsters in the Morning, the Jim Colbert Show. We got Tom and Dan, and of course the News Junkie. Listen to all of them, and of course check us out on the iHeart app and YouTube. On behalf of Miguel Colon Jr., James John, and of course the Godfather of Daytona comedy, Mr. Zach Bennett. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow. Good night.